Welcome to your Ethereum News Briefing. Here's your latest for Tuesday, August 1st, 2023. Ethereum.org announces a translation program. Entrance open for Gitcoin Grants 18. A user loses $20 million in an address poisoning attack. And Optimism releases the Superchain Faucet. All this and more starts right after this message. Optimism is providing us with 500 OP tokens to onboard users onto the network. Visit ether.fm/NFT and enter code word FAUCET for a chance to mint today's podcast as an NFT on OP mainnet and earn a share of 500 OP tokens. Ethereum.org announced the Translation Program, a community effort to translate its website into additional languages. Anyone can contribute to the program as an individual or as part of a small team. Translation contributors receive a POAP as well as an Ethereum.org translator certificate after the verified completion of at least 5,000 words. Ethereum.org is available in over 50 different languages. A user fell victim to a zero-value token transfer attack by sending 20 million USDT to an attacker who spammed the victim's wallet with empty transactions in an effort to trick the victim into transferring their assets to a fraudulent address that looks similar to their own. In this case, the victim lost $20 million due to the simple attack vector. Etherscan typically makes an effort to hide zero-value token transfers on its block explorer by default. However, transfers occasionally slip through the filter. Users are encouraged to diligently verify addresses when they use copy and paste functions. Applications are now open for Gitcoin Grants 18, the first non-beta round to operate on the Grants stack. Gitcoin Grants 18 features $1 million in quadratic matching funds across 4 core rounds, including Web3 open source software, Web3 community and education, climate solutions, and Ethereum infrastructure. Projects can apply for the round between now and August 17th. Optimism introduced the Superchain Faucet, a faucet that allows developers to use their on-chain reputation to claim up to 1 Ether in testnet funds every 24 hours. Currently operational on the Goerli testnet, the faucet provides testnet funds to developers who authenticate through their Optimist NFT, an identity NFT project on Optimism. The Superchain Faucet also supports authentication through GitHub, but provides a lower allocation of testnet Ether. Optimism plans to integrate a base Goerli faucet and support authentication through World ID. Optimism released the criteria for distributing RetroPGF 3 voting badges, which grant membership to the Citizens House responsible for allocating public goods funding. A total of 208 badges will be distributed, with each RetroPGF 2 badge holder receiving a new badge and the ability to grant an extra badge to someone of their choice. The top 50 RetroPGF 2 recipients will also be able to grant a voting badge to a community member. Additionally, the Optimism Foundation will distribute 10 voting badges, and each of those recipients can distribute an additional badge. RetroPGF2 badge holders and the top 50 RetroPGF2 recipients must fill out a form via the Optimism Governance Forum to distribute their badges. The Optimism Grants Council announced a request for Grants 3. An experimental grants round focused on smart contract code audits. Request for Grants 3 is seeking a pool of experienced auditors willing to accept token-locked OP grants as payment, a system for matching auditors with grantees, and a mechanism for distributing tokens. Optimism Grants will provide an in-kind grant to eligible grantees to be used for code audits on their applications. Request for Grants 3 will be allocated on a rolling basis. The Optimism Grants Council also introduced Requests for Grants 4, which requests the development of AI-driven smart contract auditing tools. And lastly, the Superhack, a virtual ETH global hackathon focused on the OP stack, begins this Friday, August 4th. The hackathon features $150,000 in prizes across several categories for building on specified ecosystem tech stacks. Hackathon partners include Optimism, Base, Zora, Safe, and WorldCoin. Builders have until Wednesday, August 2nd at 3:59 a.m. UTC to apply for the hackathon. This has been a roundup of today's top news stories in Ethereum. You can support this podcast by subscribing and following us on Twitter at ETH Daily. Also subscribe to our newsletter at ether.fm. Thanks for listening. We'll see you tomorrow.